Welcome to 3 true crime stories that will slap you in the face and stay with you for good. What's good? I'm Frankie Bryant. I tell true crime, horror, and strange stories that'll stick with you long after you hear them. I'm chasing 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I want you to be part of the crew that makes it happen. So hit that subscribe button, join the journey, and let's dive into today's story. This guy walked to a 15-year-old girl while she was watering plants. In under 10 seconds, she was shoved into a plastic storage bin, but instead of screaming, she started memorizing how to survive. Kara Robinson was staying at a friend's house in Columbia, South Carolina, just helping with yard work one morning when a green truck pulls up. A man steps out, mid-30s, mundane look, asks her about her parents. When she said they're not home, everything changes. He reaches for her neck, pulls out a gun, and orders her, "Get in." She's forced into a tight plastic bin with a lid sealed shut. Pitch black, smells of dust and plastic. She can't move her arms, but she does the only thing that her instincts allow. She starts mentally mapping out her escape. She counts the turns, left, right, left, notes every bump. She hears a country song faintly through the walls of the bin. She repeats a mantra, stay calm, gather information, and wait for him to get complacent and then escape. That mantra becomes her lifeline. He drives. She's calculating everything. Duration of the turns, texture of the bin, the smell of the uphoist. She's playing chess while trapped in a coffin. When they arrive at the apartment, she's pulled out and chained, gagged, and assaulted for 18 hours. But she's not broken. She's watching. She memorizes the entire space, the layout of the apartment, the magnets on the fridge, holding the dentist and the doctor information. A woman's long red hairs in his hairbrush, a caged bird, even the prescription bottle with the name Richard Mark Edwards, Edvions. Every piece of data is a breadcrumb to her freedom and potentially to justice. When he finally passes out from exhaustion, Kara makes her move. She uses her teeth to loosen the handcuffs, wiggles free, creeps across the floor, unlocks the door, and then silently, urgently, and bolts into the hallway. Clutching nothing but her survival instincts, she flags down 2 people in a car and blurts out, "I was kidnapped. I know where he lives," and they drive her straight to the sheriff's office. The police move in, only to find that he already fled. Within days, they learn that he isn't just a kidnapper, he's a serial killer. 3 other teenage girls, Sophia Liza, and sisters Kristen and Kathy List. Victims dating back to 1990s in Virginia. Kara's escape shatters his spree. 3 days later, police corner him in Florida. He leads them in a high-speed chase, and instead of facing justice, he commits suicide. Kara goes from victim to survivor, then victim to advocate. She used the reward money to go to the university and becomes a criminal justice officer. And now, she raises her own family while supporting other survivors and co-hosting Survivor's Guide to True Crime. Think about that. A terrified 15-year-old girl trapped in a bin, chained, and assaulted for 18 hours. She turned that horror into the end of a predator. If you're ever in a crisis, here's the takeaway she lived by. The mind is the only weapon they can't take away from you. Keep thinking. This couple went to sleep in their locked apartment, and by morning, one of them was dead, and the other, the killer. The police swore they never came through the door. It's 2003 in New Orleans. Phil and Mary are in a quiet couple living in a small second-floor apartment in a rough part of town. They kept the doors locked and the chains latched on, and the windows were bolted shut. Paranoia wasn't a bad thing here. One humid night in August, they watched TV, share some takeout, and go to bed around midnight. Everything was normal. At 7 a.m., neighbors hear this blood-curdling scream, sharp panic, then cut off. They pound on Phil's and Mary's door and get nothing. Police arrive, break the chain, and step inside. Mary's lying in the bed, eyes wide open, not breathing, no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no pry marks. Phil on the other floor, unconscious, a deep gash on his head. The place looks untouched. TV remote is still in her hand. The cops think maybe Phil did it in some kind of domestic fight. But here's where it gets weird. Mary's cause of death: manual strangulation. Phil's injury consists with being struck from behind while sitting. So if Phil didn't do it, and there's no sign of anyone breaking in, who the hell killed Mary? They tear the place apart and then they find it. In the bedroom closet, hidden under a hanging jacket, is a square hole in the wall leads to the utility crawl space behind the apartments. The edges were sharp, almost like it'd been cut weeks before. Inside the crawl space, a flattened cardboard box with food wrappers and an empty soda can. Someone had been living there. Investigators pieced it together, and the killer had been hiding in their walls for days, watching them, running their routines, and then crawled out in the middle of the night to attack. But here's the part that sticks with the cops to this day. Phil swears he felt someone's breath on the back of his neck right before he blacked out. And the man they arrested a week later, a neighbor from down the hall, evicted months prior, who vanished without a trial. The rumor in the building is he used the crawl space to spy on tenants, and maybe he still does. It's July, middle of the summer, and the Jackson family is heading to Texas to Colorado. They're driving through one of those long and empty stretches of highway. Nothing but dry grass, the occasional gas station, and the feeling like if you broke down, no one would find you for a couple of hours. They pull up at this tiny roadside diner. One of those one waitress, a squeaky ceiling fan, and a single menu taped to the wall. Inside, there's just them and a man sitting in the back of the booth. He's wearing sunglasses indoors, even though the place is really them. The daughter Emily, she's 15, goes to the bathroom. 2 minutes later, she comes back pale and shaken. She leans toward her mom and says, "That man, he knows my name." Her mom laughs it off. "You probably heard him wrong, sweet." But Emily swears she did not. She says he whispered, "Emily, you just look like your mother." Now, that's creepy enough, right? But here's the thing, that there's no way this man should even know her name when they've never met. When they finish eating, they head back to the car. The man leaves a few minutes later, climbing into an old black pickup truck. They think that's the end of it. But hours later, they're driving through the mountains and it's late. Pitch black except for a few headlights. And in the rear view mirror, Dad notices a pair of headlights. The same distance back for miles. It's the black pickup truck. He slows down, the truck slows down. He speeds up, the truck speeds up. Now Emily's freaked out, and her mom's telling her it's completely fine, they'll stop at the next motel. But here's where it gets even worse. They pull into a little roadside loft, relief washes over them, and until the black pickup truck rolls in too, parking 2 spots away. They check into the room. Dad pretends to be calm, but inside he's on high alert. Around midnight, he hears a soft footsteps outside the door, then a quiet knock. Emily whispers, "Do not open it." Dad looks through the peephole and there's no one's there. Next morning, they get up early to leave. The black truck is already gone and they're halfway relieved. But in about an hour into the drive, they see it again, parked on a shoulder ahead of them. The man leaning against it, looking right at them as they pass. Here's where it gets even from creepy to terrifying. That night, they make it to the rental cabin in Colorado. Everything feels normal again until Emily disappears. Her parents search the cabin, the woods, nearby roads, but nothing. Police are called in, days pass, and there's no sign of her. Then on the 4th day, Erica finds something in the woods. A bundle wrapped in the tarp. Inside is Emily, but she's not alive. In her hand, a scrap of paper with just one sentence. "Told you she looked just like her mother." The black pickup truck never found. The man never identified. And the police think he might not have been after Emily at all.